This is a Fox News alert. Moments ago, President Trump wrapping up yet another massive rally, this time in Broward County, Florida. By the way, and look at this. Supporters stood in line all day to get a spot inside this packed arena, which has a capacity of over 20,000. What Democrat can do this? Now, prior to the big rally, Bill O'Reilly interviewed the president on his radio show, and Bill has given us an exclusive clip from that one-on-one interview. Great question and great answer by the president. You'll want to hear that. And needless to say, the Democrats' impeachment charade has only solidified the president's base and is now turning into an unmitigated political disaster for the left. Remember all last week, while the media mob was telling you Trump is finished, a bombshell, disaster, disaster. Well, they were, again, lying to we, the people, as they have been for 3 long years, 4 if you include the election. Now, according to multiple polls, support for impeachment among independents, look at this, it has dropped dramatically in the past several weeks. Look at this Emerson poll, double-digit swing among independents, as opposition for impeachment is up, whopping 11 points, meaning bye-bye, people don't like it. A Marquette University poll concluding support for impeachment dropped by 4 points in the swing state, the important state of Wisconsin. A Politico poll showed support for impeachment is declining nationwide. Interest in the impeachment charade has even dipped among Democratic voters. Look at your screen. With 31 members of Congress now representing those swing districts. Pay close attention, those names right there, that the president carried in 2016, these guys are in full panic mode. And as Republican groups now plan to plaster these districts with multi-million-dollar ad buys over the Thanksgiving weekend, you know, when football's running, et cetera, so-called moderate Democrats, they're begging their party leadership for help. Here's the great irony, though. In all of this, the Schiff Show, ironically, they actually helped pay for these ads as Americans showed they have had enough from this compromised, corrupt, congenital liar, and they've been donating record amounts of money to help the president and help Republican candidates. He's paying for this. Thank you. I guess we have to say thank you to the congenital liar. One anonymous Democratic lawmaker telling Politico, quote, "It's like someone taped our arms to our side and punched us in the face." Over the weekend, Democratic lawmaker from Michigan, who once supported impeachment, now says she doesn't, see the value in kicking Trump out of office. Wow. By the way, this is a safe district. Take a listen.
You can censure. You don't have to remove the president. So there's different levels of activities that you can take under the articles of impeachment. We are so close to an election. I will tell you, sitting here knowing how divided this country is, I don't see the value of taking him out of office.
Get this, Congresswoman Lawrence has since recanted those remarks and is now falling in line. We can tell you why. Probably immense pressure from the Democratic leadership, the squad, and, yes, the compromised, corrupt, congenital liar. Make no mistake, this is not looking good for the Democratic Party. They're helping the president win. Even the mob and the media, they're starting to take note. Look at Jonathan Swan. Axios said this has not been encouraging from a Democratic point of view. Look at this. Over there on the conspiracy TV channel of Area 51, Rachel Maddow. Yes, Roswell Rachel. MSDNC's Chucky Todd, who, by the way, he's never going to be anywhere near as great as the great Tim Russert, conceding that the Schiff Show did not clear the political bar. Then he made some other dumb analysis about the legal bar, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. Was he listening to his lunatic colleagues on the conspiracy theory channel MSDNC? One Washington Post reporter said the polls should be a very clear warning to the Democrats. Take a look.
I do think that this polling is, a sort of a warning sign for them. I mean, if they're not able to move public sentiment at all with those 5 hearings with, like a dozen State Department or NSC officials coming forward and testifying against the president, I mean, that's a problem for them. I mean, this should be a high point for them in terms of making the case to the voters.
And tonight, it's not just the polls on impeachment that should concern the Democratic Party. Take a look at your screen. Even a New York Times headline that reads, quote, "They voted Democratic, now they support Trump," What they're referring to is new data showing, Democrats did okay in the 2018 elections. Donald Trump did not do anywhere nearly as bad in the first, midterm election as, say, Obama and Clinton. But anyway, the two-thirds of the battleground state voters who chose Trump in 2016 but selected Democrats in the midterms, they're going back to Trump in 2020. Whoopsie-daisy. If the New York Times says it's two-thirds, it's probably 98%. And meanwhile, President Trump also seeing a groundswell of support among African-American voters. These numbers, 6 separate polls, are huge. According to this, multiple new polls, 16 to 34% of African-Americans and voters approve of the president. Now, keep in mind, he only garnered 8% of the African-American vote in 2016. We will give you all the analysis of why this is happening in just a minute, and also we'll be joined by Ben Carson. Specifically, we'll ask, how the president, how has he helped minority communities in America more in 3 years than the destructive policies, and by the way, inordinately impacting minority communities of Biden and Obama, those policies. It's now perfectly clear. Ukrainian impeachment, this coup attempt, is now a political dumpster fire. You, the American people, you're not buying the BS that Democrats have been selling now for 3 long years. We've had enough, and the wheels are already in motion. So today, just as we predicted, the shift show is now headed to the Jerry Nadler shift show in the Judiciary Committee so that he can turn this flaming pile of garbage and crap into an official impeachment proceeding. Good luck turning that hearsay, he said, she said, opinion and conjecture garbage into something that even resembles evidence. The one witness that can actually testify without offering opinion or hearsay, that one guy, Sondland, about what the president actually said. Remember, he's on record saying, you heard the president said, well, what do you want for Ukraine? I want nothing. No quid pro quo. That's not going to work out well in the Senate when the rules of evidence, the federal rules of evidence, are applied. Of course, Nadler will try his best, and the witch trial and the coup attempt will continue. Remember, in 1998, this is the same Jerry Nadler, that guy right there, railing against impeachment, saying it was an undoing of a national election, that votes were being ripped away from the American people. Nadler didn't even want the Starr report, which the independent counsel statute required be released, to be released. Maybe it's because it listed 11 specific grounds for impeachment, including real felonies against his fellow Democrat, Bill Clinton. Remember this.
Mr. Starr, in his transmittal letter to the Speaker and the Minority Leader, made it clear that much of this material is Federal Rule 6E material, that is material that by law, unless contravened by vote of the House, must be kept secret. It's grand jury material. It represents statements which may or may not be true by various witnesses, salacious material, all kinds of material that it would be unfair to release.
Now Nadler's going to spearhead an impeachment proceeding against Donald Trump. Now, where there are no specific grounds for impeachment whatsoever. Remember, Clinton lost his law license, paid a hell of a lot of money to Paula Jones at the end of the day. The level of hypocrisy in the Democratic Party and the mob and the media knows no bounds. Now, of course, keep in mind, this is all much to do about nothing because the Senate will never vote to convict and instead will follow the federal rules of evidence, which means no hearsay will be admitted and no opinion witnesses will be heard. That means nobody we heard from in the shift show. This is very important. President Trump will finally be able to mount a defense. That's huge. And earlier today, he easily just ripped apart the Democrats' faulty narrative during an interview with Bill O'Reilly. This is on his radio show. Take a listen to this.
If you had to do the phone call with the Ukraine president again, would you mention Joe Biden?
Well, it was mentioned just as very unimportantly, and as you know, Joe Biden's son became rich as soon as Joe Biden became vice president. And in my way of thinking, that's totally corrupt. We have to look for corruption. I mean, we're sending them tremendous amounts of money. We don't want to be sending it for corrupt purposes. And the other thing that bothers me is why isn't France and Germany and, NATO, you could say, why aren't these other countries and institutions, why aren't they paying some of the money? Why is it always the sucker United States?
Bam. President is on offense, and at this point, Democrats don't even know if they have the votes for impeachment. Those 31, Democrats in Trump-won districts of 2016, they now face political peril. The president has withstood 3+ years. The country has withstood 3+ years of what is an unprecedented political onslaught. No prior administration, no prior president has ever faced this level of hatred, rage, psychosis, and vitriol. And yet this president has fought back every step of the way, including tonight during another raucous, fun rally, this time in Florida.